If Fleer was worried about competition in their first 10 years of their monopoly, it probably wasn't 1961 Fleer baseball cards that was keeping Sy Berger and his cohorts up at night. After issuing a dedicated Ted Williams set in 1959 and a set full of all-time greats in 1960, Fleer evidently didn't make any headway in their quest to print cards from the then current players over the offseason. So back they came for another round of baseball greats in 1961, this time with an updated patriotic design and an expanded checklist, 154 cards, that have made the second set issue generally more popular than the first. Here then are the most valuable 1961 Fleer baseball cards based on prices listed for graded near-mint copies in the PSA Sports Market Report Price Guide. 1961 Fleer Babe Ruth, number 75. Greatest player of all time? Check. Card issued in the second season when the Babe was getting more attention than ever, thanks to Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle hunting down his single-season home run record. Check. Most valuable card on the set? Check. At about $120 in PSA 7. 1961 Fleer Ted Williams, number 152. Williams returned for a third go-around with Fleer, all at the expense of Topps and their ability to feature Teddy Ballgame in their own sets. This only game in town 1961 Williams card also fetches close to $120 in PSA 7 condition. 1961 Fleer Lou Gehrig, number 31. Gehrig again checks in behind Williams and Ruth here, just like he does in the 1960 Fleer set. The man whose name is synonymous with Hall of Fame greatness and overall class checks in here at around $70 in graded near mint condition. 1961 Fleer Ty Cobb, number 14. If this list is starting to look familiar, maybe it's because you've already seen our 1961 article. Those first four listings are exactly the same. Here in the 1961 Fleer set, Cobb appears on his final card issued during his lifetime, and that card sells for around $50 in PSA 7. 1961 Fleer Ross Youngs, number 154. Youngs gives us our first new name when compared to the 1960 Fleer set, and he makes the cut by having been the starting right fielder for 2 World Series championship editions of the New York Giants in the early 1920s. Youngs also made the Cooperstown cut via the Veterans Committee in 1972, and he lines up here at $50 in PSA 7, even though Fleer went with Young on his card. 1961 Fleer HONUS Wagner, number 150. Wagner is back as the greatest shortstop in the 1961 Fleer set, and one of the few top men in that position to ever take the field. Here, the Flying Dutchman offers us his elderly statesman look on his $45 card in PSA 7. 1961 Fleer Cy Young, number 153. Young wins the battle of the Hall of Fame pitchers in this set, just as he did for most of his career victories, 511, and in having a yearly pitching award named after him. The Cleveland and the Boston Great is a $45 buy in PSA 7. 1961 Fleer Walter Johnson, number 49. When you look at their entire bodies of work, Young had nothing on Johnson, and the big train was as frightening a sight on the mound as big league hitters had ever encountered. In this set, though, he trails Young at $25 in PSA 7. 1961 Fleer CHRISTY Mathewson, number 59. Mathewson didn't last quite as long as Young or Johnson, and his final numbers weren't quite as gaudy. Few men have ever had the impact from the mound that the Big Six did, though, and he matches Johnson here with a $25 card in PSA 7. 1961 Fleer Napoleon Lejeune, number 120. Lejeune was one of the great early second basemen and holds the distinction of having had a major league team named after him for a while, the Cleveland Naps. Oh, and of being the subject of one of the hobby's most drool-worthy cards ever, his 1933 Gotti. This 1961 Fleer card of Larry is a bit more modest at $20 in PSA 7. 1961 Fleer Connie Mack, number 123. Connie Mack was a manager across multiple generations, and though his Philadelphia Athletics team lost more games than they won, he did lead them to 5 World Series titles and 4 more American League pennants from 1901 through 1950. Mr. Mack fills out the lineup card here at $20 and PSA 7. 1961 Fleer, Bob Feller, number 25. Rapid Robert was just 5 years removed from his active Major League Baseball duty when this card was issued, and would be inducted into Cooperstown a year later. One of the greatest pitchers of his generation and all time, Feller brings in about $15 and slabs near mint condition these days. Like our video? Then like our videos and subscribe to our channel. WaxPackGods.com